the finished article. So that's from location to print.
Hello and welcome back. I'm in a field, and it's the field I've been in many a times, and it's one of a lone tree they shoot local. But the idea behind this is actually that I video the location, show my processing, so from start to finish, from the shoot to raw, and then we'll print it off as well. So like I say, this is a field that I shoot, and I'm shooting this lone tree up here, which actually got another one not far from it, and that's part of the process is actually removing that out from it. Now I thought I was in absolute luck, even though it looks looking quite nice. They've harvested in the field next door, so I'm thinking about I might have to return here quite soon to get more shots of them with a baled A, but I might be too late then. So I'm on f11 ISO 100 160th of a second, because it's afternoon time, so sort of tea time. And I was going to actually come this morning because I know the sun rises behind that tree, but it's just too early for me. I just couldn't be bothered, which is terrible for me. It's unusual, but it's just too much hassle. And to be honest with you, I didn't know what the crop were going to be like. I didn't know what crop it was and what it was going to be like. So just go watch. I'm not blocking the farmer in because he'll go mad. So I'm not going to actually spend too much time here. I can hear him working. Okay, so I'm going to grab these shots. I'm literally not going to spend any time here whatsoever. I'm going to spend 10 minutes, grab the shots, and then I'll see you back at the office and we'll process these images.
Okay, so back at the office now. I've put all the files onto the computer, and then how I do it is I move all my files into Lightroom and then go through them that way. A couple of things before I start editing. The lens that I'm using actually dropped it the other day, and I've had issues with the focusing. It's the 70 to 300. It won't focus at certain lengths. It won't go to infinity. So that has just been packed and it's off to be repaired. Next thing is, I can't believe the amount of dust spots and mess that are on the images. It's shocking. But it's good because we're going to deal with that in the edit. So, but they are shocking. There's a big black blob on there. I've blown it now and it's pretty much got rid of them, and I do clean my sensor quite regular. So next issue is I did come away from the field and went the other side of the gate because I was worried about me blocking the gate off if the farmer wanted to come in and harvest the field. So I actually moved to the car where I parked in the gateway, and it's a very overgrown gateway as well, so it's very rarely used at all. But I didn't want to stop the farmer, so I went back and shot from the gate instead, so out on the road. So it's just a matter of choosing some images to process and see which ones we feel are the best, process them and see how I get on basically. So the first thing we've got to do is choose the images. So there's a couple of images. I've actually done a couple just to have a quick look, but just to see how they edit really. But there's a couple of interesting ones, and I'm looking for ones with little different bits of light. This is one without the tree, that's just got nice shadows along the rolling hills there. That looks quite nice. I like the lone tree shot. Yeah, that's a nice shot. Now obviously, like I say, because I'm having focus issues, if I show you another shot and maybe get that, like this one here is out of focus, and I've really struggled to get it in focus because of this problem with the lens. But I did manage to still get some nice sharp shots. Again, that one looks out of focus. I knew I had a focus problem, so I was trying to work with it and see what I could work with. Again, just changing different focal lengths, really to deal with this, the issues I've got with focus. So if we zoom in on this tree, we'll see if it's in focus. That's in focus, so that's what I'll do. I'll pick some images and then we'll start editing them. So the first one I think I will pick is, I'm just trying to pick ones that have got a nice bit of light in and around that tree, that's quite a nice one. So I'm going to choose this image, and first thing I'm going to do is get rid of all these horrible dust spots. So I'm going to actually send it into Luminar because it's a lot easier and I like ease. There is another way of doing it as well in Photoshop, and I'll in Lightroom, and I'll show you that as well. So we've got it in Luminar. We'll go to Edit, Erase, Remove Dust Spots, and that will do its thing. That's removed them all. It's even removed the big mark there. Everything looks really good. Apply, and that will apply that, and it will send it automatically back into Lightroom. But there is another way of doing it. If we just grab that image there, if we go into the remove tool and then click visualize spots, and then we can just go over and remove them manually ourselves. So it's not too bad to do it in Lightroom. I just find it easier and quicker. That's the image, the first part of the image done. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually remove these trees and bushes. I'm going to try and do it in Lightroom and see how good the remove tool is. So I'm just going to select that tree there, make sure we'll go over it completely, apply. Brilliant job. So I'm going to select this few bushes here, just going into the field there. We can add to that, do that. I'm going to remove that patch there, and we're going to do a little bit of tidying up. So that patch there, that patch there. Be quite aggressive, just a little clean up to make it look a little bit, simplifying the image really. So we'll do that, we'll apply. We'll see how that gets on. That's done a fantastic job. It's probably just made the hill there a little bit uneven, so what I'm actually going to do is just give it one more go, see if it will straighten that out there. Just make it a little bit straighter. We can work with it till we get it quite how we want it really, which is fantastic. We can actually, that's quite good, but we have got three choices here, three variations of, actually I like the third one better, so we'll select the third one and we'll deselect that, and that's just made it nice, more even. The next thing is, let's work on the general adjustments first. So I'm just going to drop the highlights down, or bring them up a little bit actually. Shadows, we want contrast, but I'm going to drop the shadows for now, and then I'm going to add contrast by bringing down the blacks and up in those whites, and there we go. And I'm really concentrating on the tree part of this at the beginning. Next thing we want to do is I'm just going to bring the DAs up a fraction, but I'm going to just drop the clarity a touch, and then I'm going to bring up the texture, which looks fantastic. I'm just going to come out of the image, Control and minus or plus to go in and out. The reason why I've come out is because I want to add a few masks to the image. First one is, let's deal with the foreground. So I'm going to select a linear grad. We're going to just pull it up from the bottom and just darken that down a little bit. And then I'm just going to do another one, overlap that just to make it more easy to the eye. Something like that. That's all I've done. Just changed it slightly. The next thing I'm going to do is select sky, and we're going to see how good a job this does with selecting the sky. And it's actually done a fantastic job, so we no need to do any more than that, any more add-on selections or removing anything. That is fantastic, so we just need to work with that. So I'm actually going to put the DAs on the sky a little bit more just to give it a little bit of punch. Now obviously it really does oversaturate it, so by upping the DAs, just drop down that saturation, but we're giving it a little bit of contrast to the clouds. I'm actually going to up the clarity a little bit there, and probably the texture as well, but not too much. That is looking fabulous already, so we'll just have a before and after, how much we've brought out in those clouds. I'm also going to bring the whites up. Actually, I'm not going to bring the whites up, I'm going to bring the highlights up, like so. That's it. And I'm going to bring the shadows down to give it even more contrast there. That is fantastic. Right, we can go back to that mask whenever we want, but I'm now going to add a linear grad to it and just darken that down a touch more, and again another one over the top of there, just a little bit. Fantastic. And what we're trying to do is actually focus all on that tree, which is brilliant. That is brilliant. Now what I'm thinking of, I think there's too much foreground here that's not really adding anything to the image. So what I'm actually going to do is just crop it off. I think it'll look better just beyond that little green patch there, and I think that'll look so much better. I'm quite happy with that. I'm gonna just warm the image up a slight little bit like so, just a little bit there, and then we'll do a little bit of colour adjustments. Now luminosity, the blues, I'm going to drop them luminosity, then blues down, because it'll give that sky a little bit more punch. But with that, I'm also going to drop down the saturation. There we go. So that blue isn't quite that blue, or so. And if we've got luminosity, we might be able to just push it a little bit more. There we go. That is nice. I'm going to bring up the luminance of the yellow and orange, so, and I'm going to bring the saturation up of the yellow and orange to give that field a little bit more punch, like so. Probably the last thing I'm going to do is a bit of sharpening. So just hold the Alt button down on the mask, bring the mask up. We're only really interested in the tree, so something around there, details right up, radius right down, and then just punch up the sharpening to about 50, and that's just sharpened everything beautifully. Now I'm thinking, now I've cropped this, that I could add another grad to the bottom of this and make it a little bit darker there. And how I'm going to do that, I'm just going to drop down the shadows so it only darkens those shadow areas, which is fantastic. Might even be able to push that just a touch more to give that field a little bit of contrast and actually bring that light out. I'm going to grab another filter, select sky, and then invert, and that will select the foreground and the tree, and then I'm just going to up the highlights to give it even more punch there, and again drop that shadows back down because it's counteracting it, like so. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. The only other thing I need to do now is we'll select object, I want to paint over the tree like so, because that tree now has gone into shadow a little bit, so I'm going to just up the shadows in the tree just slightly. I'm going to give it a touch of warmth there. There we go. We might be able to just push that a little bit more, something like that. Let's have a little look in. We'll zoom in into the tree. That's looking nice. Okay, so we'll just drop back out of there. Now all the images that I'll edit are gonna be obviously very similar to that, because they're all very similar images. The thing that frustrates me with this image is the tree not in line with the tractor marks. So that's the only thing that frustrates me with this image. If we just save that, then we can, I did take some images like say from the gate, and that they was on a side on angle. Again, that one's out of focus for obvious reasons, like I say. I think these shots will work really well as long as the tree's in focus. That one is out of focus. What I was actually doing was taking the image, checking it, see if it was in focus, no, do it again, etc, etc. So that would work well. And the nice thing about this shot is it's got some birds in. So we'll just get rid of the dust spots and see if Luminar gets rid of the birds as well, just as a little test. So if we right click, edit in, Luminar. So again, edit, erase dust spots. And that's the challenge here, because we've got an horrible dust spot here that looks like a bird, but it's not a dust spot. It's got rid of all the dust spots and none of the birds, besides that one real dark dust spot which they could interpret for a bird flying through. So that is, again, it's fantastic. Raw and after up for you now, so you can have a look at what I've actually done. But I don't know whether you can see those. If we zoom right in, there's the birds, look. So it's not touched the birds at all. I'm quite impressed with that, because they look like dust spots, but they're actually birds. Actually 5 birds there. That is fantastic. I will grab a shot that we've edited. Now I edited this one earlier and gave it a little bit more punch, and what I'll do now is we'll print it. So first thing we'll do is click on soft proof, and then we will create a proof copy. And what that will do then is we can compare the proof to the original, and it looks very similar. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to print that. So if we go to print, now sometimes I use Photoshop for the print, so we'll just get that set up for a print. When it installs, there we go. Just, oh, I've clicked print, so we'll print that. It should all be set up. Loading paper, done. And we'll give that a few minutes to print. I'll just talk to you about the printer for a second as well. This is an Epson. It's the printer is a ET8550, and what I like about it is the it's got little tanks here for all the different colours, so you can see when they're running out, so they never run out, so you never get problems with it clogging up. Fantastic. And it prints really well. There we go. Excellent. So that's the finished article. So that's from location to print. I've hope you enjoyed this little story of how I go about going out to location, taking the images, having the problems that and overcoming them, coming back, editing, and then to final print. And there you go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.